All right, hello everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today I've got my friend Zach over and we are going to be talking about the new DeathGuard codex. We don't have the new codex. It went on pre-order yesterday. I've picked up a copy. I'm assuming...
I've asked for a pre-order of the
as
normal
well.
one.
Yeah. But we have seen the leaks on Reddit. We've got it all here on our phones in front of us, so we will be able to go over everything. I guess, starting it off, what are your thoughts in general on the new DeathGuard?
To be fair, it depends. I feel like we both have a very different style of playing DeathGuard. You definitely like your big demons, and we've just seen recently that they removed that for most of it, unless you take the demon-specific one.
Yeah.
I like to play a more DeathGuard only DeathGuard.
A purist, right?
A purist, yeah, a little bit. But I think the changes are super positive. To be fair, I think
it's definitely a lot better for purists now that we've got like Infiltrate on Poxwalkers and Scout on Chaos Spawn. It's like. We were talking a little bit earlier, and I was so sad for a couple of days because it announced that we lost access to Nurglings, and the leaks didn't come out for like 2 days after that. So for 2 days, I was like, how are we going to fill this space of infiltrators, you know?
And then we see Poxwalkers getting infiltrated, and you're like,
yeah,
whoa.
It's like, oh, yes, finally. But yeah, so there's been so many changes, and it definitely feels like a brand new DeathGuard. We've gained so much, but at the same time, I feel like we've lost a lot of kind of what made us DeathGuard for the majority of 10th edition, and losing, like if we took, we lost Cultists, right? We've lost the Chaos Lord Terminator armor, which I don't think I ever saw anyone bring. The Chaos Lord Sorcerer, which -1 damage was huge for us for a while there. And what else did we lose?
I think that's the main four. It's just the
main
Cultists and the Brew Lords. Because I think with the Chaos Lord, they switched it with the Lord of Poxes.
Yes. Yep.
So that's supposed to be our Chaos Lord now.
And the sad thing is, with I didn't even say, this is my DeathGuard army here. And I've got some allied units in the back there, a couple of knights, and some of my Nurgle forces. This is probably about... I'd say about 60% of what I own. Everything else is still either plastic or hasn't been put together yet. So yeah, there's definitely a bit of work to do. But talking about like the demons for a second, we've actually lost access to so many demons.
Yeah, because you used to have like all the demons, and now it's just restricted.
Now it's like there's like 6 of them. Yeah, there's like Great Unclean One, Rotigus, Nurglings, Beasts of Nurgle, Plague Bearers, and Plague Drones.
Yeah.
So even though we can bring 1,000 points of Nurgles in that detachment, which we'll go over, so you can't bring any of their leaders.
You can't bring any of the other named ones, like I think it's a Vilepiper.
So you can't give them Sustained, you can't give them 4-up Invul, you can't give them anything that would make them any better.
The problem is, like with the Plague Bearers specifically, I think they kind of rely on the buffs from the leader characters, and without
very
that,
similar to like Plague Marines in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Because they are their battle line units essentially. But I guess let's jump into this. We've got all of the leaks open here on our phones, and we're just going to go through the index cards in order that they're in. So starting with Mortarion, who has gone through some massive changes.
To be fair, he became a Primarch finally.
That's a good way to put it.
I feel like before playing Mortarion just felt like playing with wet tissue paper that just gave ignore modifiers, and now he's actually looks like he'll be threatening on the board.
The amount of times where I've had him stuck in combat, not able to kill just like the most basic thing, it's been a pain. But like if we look at, so his shooting, he got a little bit of extra range. For melee, I think he got an extra, no, he didn't get any extra attacks on a strike. He got 1 extra attack on a sweep. And on a strike, he now has...
He actually got slightly worse on a strike, because he used to be AP4, right?
No, it was always AP3.
Oh, wait, right.
But with the contagion, AP4. Yeah. And the thing is, like, damage D6 +1. Most of the time, that will be better, I think. If you roll a 1, it's worse. If you roll a 2, it's worse. If you roll a 3, it's the same as having 4 damage.
Yeah.
So then 4, 5, 6 is like better.
Just depends on how it gives you the ability to spike.
Yeah.
At least it's a minimum 2 damage, which isn't really that helpful when you're looking at a strike. It's
I know, right? It's like, well, yeah. In that instance, it's like now that the sweep has sustained as well, and AP2 damage 2. I mean, that sweep is pretty crazy.
Actually, he did gain dev wounds on his strike. So,
yeah, that's a win. Definitely against like Terminators and stuff. Because that's the thing, right? Like anything with an invul, you're just like, oh my god, I've got 5 attacks. I'm most likely going to drop one of the hits. I'm most likely going to drop one of the wounds.
Yep.
And if they got a 4-up invul, I'm going to drop 1 or 2 of their...
I mean, old Mortarion didn't really have to worry about dropping the wounds. It's just the hits that really mattered.
True, because of his aura. Yeah.
And then you just be like, all right, I missed 1 hit. I can see it now. He's going to wound 4 times. And then just not killing the squad.
And like talking about his auras, like, so he used to have ignore modifiers, which was
just his
crazy, broken, probably.
His as a Space Marine player, it was just you just lose access to half your attachment bonuses.
Exactly.
You're just like, cool.
And then he had to choose either reroll wound rolls of 1, which I think I chose like 90% of the time.
I think that was the main benefit.
Because the other 2 was like extend contagion range or benefit of cover.
Benefit cover.
Yeah. And now we've got...
a lot of reactive.
Yeah, a lot of reactive moves. So reactive movement up to 5 inches for, let me just zoom in on this. A Death Guard unit which is within 6 inches of this model can make a normal move up to 5 inches.
Yeah.
So if a enemy unit moves within 9 inches of that unit. So basically, you'd want to stay... That's actually so far, because if you think about it, you have the tail end of a Poxwalker unit, which is 6 inches away from Mortarion. Other side of that might be 6 inches between the unit, and then you've got 9 inches that the enemy has come into. Yeah. That's such a huge...
It's such a huge like deny bubble, because it's just saying don't move here or move back, and then your charge suddenly just becomes worse.
What I really like about this as well is the fact that if you are close to Plague Marines and a Rhino, you can move them back into the Rhino, and we've never had that before. So that's I'm quite excited to try that. But with that, you'd have to get them within 3 inches.
Like the whole unit within 3. But then it's most of the time when you use like any transport, they tend to drop out of the transport anyway.
Oh, and just
and
stay
then
in
they're
that
already
space.
just there.
Gotcha.
Other than that, like they can even be, because you move 5, you could technically be like 6 inches away and still walk everyone back.
That's a good point. So it's going to be crucial for us to like really make sure we're measuring everything right, especially when it comes to Plague Marines, or even I don't know if
I don't see a restriction to like. Is this a once per turn?
The restriction, it's on the right hand side. It's once per turn. But if you look at them, so there's the reactive move, right? There is the fight on death if you haven't fought yet on a 2-up, and then there is a shoot back. So
I like how it's not like locked like before. How all the other Primarchs are like choose one in the command phase,
for the whole,
choose one in the charge phase. It's just when it happens, just you can do one of these.
The interesting thing about this one is it's like once per turn, right? So my turn, your turn. But 2 of these, like the shooting one and the move one, they're going to happen in your turn. So I think in most turns you're not going to get it done on your side unless
not specifically, because like if you think about how Mortarion works, he's just one big aura bubble, right?
Yeah.
And then if you, let's say suddenly your Plague Marines can charge something that has fights first and then just fight on death and just deal with it that way.
The fight on death one would be the only one, right?
Or if you were to walk into Overwatch and then shoot
I just checked that, but it says in your opponent's shooting phase.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because that would be great if you got Overwatched and then you just shot them back again. Unfortunate, but yeah.
There's possibly also the fact that the reactive move, because most of the reactive moves in Space Marines, like, as I guess as a caveat, is just because I'm a Space Marine player first and then Death Guard second, is it states that it makes a normal move. So a lot of like the tactical doctrine
looks like the same here. So normal, advance, or fallback. So fallback is an interesting one as well. Yeah, there's actually quite a lot you could do there. But yeah, I mean he's still got the 2-up, 4-up, 5-up, feel no pain, deep strike, deadly demise, D6.
And his main thing is now he actually costs.
Yeah, so I did see, where's the points? On the codex it said 400, but on the thing that was released on Goonhammer, where is it? I think it was like 380. So it's not bad. You know, it's only extra 80 points.
It's definitely a unit that you have to build around now, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because it feels a lot like the things that you can let your army do is just like the force multiplier, just like how Gilliman is a force multiplier. Where it's just like everyone gets to do more, and you're just like, cool. You just have to have them around Gilliman.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, that's pretty cool changes, and I'm excited to like try him out and see what he can do next. Now, next up we've got Typhus, and not much has changed with him really. He got these toughness 7 now, like the rest of the Terminators. They changed the name of his weapon, and he has 6 attacks now instead of 5. So a little bit of a buff. I think his points went up like 10 points as well. Where are we?
Because he was like 80.
Yeah, he was 80. Now he's 90. But other than that,
still the same.
Same.
Still works the same. I guess the only difference is that now you can't stack the -1s to hit.
Yeah, that's a good point with the army rule changing. No more -1 weapon skill, ballistic skill.
But honestly, I feel like that's almost like a healthy change for the game. Just because...
Especially when you go into melee armies.
I mean, being on both sides of it, right? I've been the melee army going into Death Guard doing that, and been the Death Guard person with Typhus going like, can't hit me, you hit me on 5s or 6s.
Yeah.
And it's almost like just, we got matched, bad luck. Can't do much about it.
You know, in the 2 years that I've been playing 40k, I've never gone up against World Eaters. Or what's another like melee folks? I've played Orcs like once. So I haven't been able to...
And you won that Orcs game too.
Oh, actually, no, I've played them twice. I've won one and I lost one. But yeah, I haven't been able to abuse that one as much, but I definitely...
I feel like when I've seen you play though, you've definitely chosen the...
Oh, -1 to save.
At least
all day, every day. Yeah,
it just makes your army just hit way harder, and it's more in your control.
Yeah, and exactly. That's what it is for me, just taking away as much randomness as you can. And actually, that's probably one thing I've noticed changed the most with the new codexes. We seem to have got a lot more access to rerolls.
Yeah,
which is something that we never had before. It was like Lord of Contagion, reroll hits.
That's it.
Mortarion, if you're close to him, reroll ones. And
Flyblown, reroll 1s for range, and then within half range, it's all.
And that's it, right? Pretty much.
Oh, reroll wounds on Lord of Virulence.
Oh, yes.
And was it Blightlords that used to have the reroll hits as well?
Yes, reroll hits of 1, I think.
Yeah.
When you're targeting the closest unit to you, like it was super specific.
Yeah, and it's like a weird wording because I was just like, everybody else gets reroll hits of 1, and then if they fulfill a second criteria, it's reroll all, and I'm just like, Blightlords hit on 3s.
And we have to meet 2 criteria just to get that rerolling ones, and I always forgot about it.
That's if anyone even took Blightlords, to be fair.
Yeah, I tried it once with Flyblown, and I only played Flyblown once, and I can't really even remember how it went.
I remember how mine went. I remember 5 Blightlords could not kill a Jackal squad in shooting and melee. And I was just like, nice.
I remember getting a bit of shooting off and doing a few dev wounds, but the stars of that game were definitely the Deathshroud.
Yeah,
I got like a 26-inch move in turn 1, and I was playing against guard, and I was just in all of the backline tanks turn 1.
and then they just hate it when you touch them. You're like, oh no, I can't fall back and shoot. Now everybody has to stay still.
Yep, caged him in. But yeah, going on to the next one, and this is probably the biggest change that we've seen in the whole codex, but Demon Prince of Nurgle, which I think is easily going to be like an auto include for most people for a few reasons. He's got toughness 12 now. It used to be toughness 11, so that's gone up 1. Movement 8, that's also gone up 1. It used to be movement 7, I believe. And I mean, the main thing is it has that thing where if a unit within 12 inches of it uses a stratagem, it's -1 CP, which is huge because Death Guard, I mean, we've got so many good strats.
Definitely, if you can go for like -1 damage, which is, I think they've changed it
from 2 CP, so
from melee and fight phase and shooting phase.
You can do it on both now.
Suddenly you're just like, I have so much stuff to
1
use.
1 CP, -1 damage, that's so good. And then the other things, he's got a couple more things. If he's 3 inches away from infantry, he gets lone op.
Oh, wow.
And is it 18 inches?
Nope, just
lone op, so 12 inches.
Straight 12.
And then he also gives benefit of cover to anything within 6 inches.
So he takes Mortarion's old one of his...
Pretty much, yeah, things. One of his auras. And in that, I forget what it's called, the Virulence, the Plague Company, the new Plague Company detachment, you can give a character a 5-up Feel No Pain.
So on him, suddenly he's...
So you can give him 2-up, 4-up, 5-up Feel No Pain. I've heard people calling him, Lone Op, Mini Mortarion already, because he's just absolutely crazy. 195 points. I think that enhancement is an extra 20 points.
To be fair, even if you don't include Mortarion, I think from his changes alone, he does enough.
Yeah.
He, like, just from having I'm just going to call it Rites of Battle, because that's, I think, the -1 CP. Makes everything so...
actually, what's it called here?
Fevered Strategist.
Fevered Strategist, okay.
So, like, having, like, a Guilliman-esque, like, 12-inch -1 CP, even if it was once per round, it's still good enough to be like, hey, you now have to worry about 1 CP interrupt. You don't have to worry about, if you walk up to me and charge this, I can just run into you with a Demon Prince, who also now has an additional AP on his sweep.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, AP -1, that's nice. The one thing I'm sad about this is that they changed. He used to have a Flamer, anti-infantry too, but they gave him the standard Infernal Cannon.
Yeah, which is like
it's just like, it's random. Like, it's not going to do much. Yeah. But he's there for the auras. He's pretty decent in melee. Very, very cool. I will definitely be running him. I actually proxy him most of the time. I've got the Demon Prince with wings here, but I use the Harbinger of Decay from the Maggot King of Nurgle. I put him on a 60mm base.
Oh, yeah?
Same height, same base size.
I
just love the model. I think it's so cool.
I have a bunch of the old Demon Princes who look a little bit like weird, but I never got the old Death Guard specific Demon Prince, the really like pudgy one that has the eye
like
falling out.
The guns.
Yeah.
And
I really,
no, that one with the big sword.
With the big sword, yeah. I felt like that was such a cool model, but I never got it in time, and I think they stopped producing it because it's a resin model as well.
But yeah, speaking of the Demon Prince with wings, still terrible.
Yeah,
like not even worth talking about, I don't think. Moving on, the next one. This is another character that's had a huge glow up. Lord of Virulence.
This used to be a staple unit.
Oh, really?
Almost like and it's just how the game's evolved, right? Like start of 10th.
Oh, PBCs. With the PBCs, yeah. That's when there was no force to hit for indirect and stuff.
It used to be just a -1, and then that would be negated by Mortarion, and then Lord of Virulence would give you +1, and then ignores cover.
And whereas now he doesn't give ignores cover anymore, but I like how it's not just blast weapons.
Yep.
Like start of your shooting phase, choose something that he can see within 30. Everything gets reroll, hit rolls of 1. If it's a blast weapon, it's 4 rerolls.
Yeah, and the timing of that is also just like spectacular, because most of those abilities are like in your command phase, end of your movement phase. And it's like, that means this guy can come in from deep strike.
Yes.
Do it in his shooting phase, and then that's it.
Yeah, they actually made quite a lot of tweaks to like our weapons, like the blight launchers on the Plague Marines, for example. They're blast now.
Yep.
The new Bloat Drone, that's got blast. There's a bit more synergy with it, which is really cool.
I think specifically, like he was always made to help
improve shooting,
like improve shooting, and specifically, I feel like he was made for the Plagueburst Crawlers.
Absolutely.
And once they changed just how indirect worked, he just never had a place, because most of the time, whenever the PDCs were too big and too slow to ever get direct line of sight of the things that he would also be able to see, because he has a 4.
Actually, just a note on that. So we play WTC terrain for the most part, and so there is a lot of terrain, and it's hard to get PVCs around the board.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even, depending on the map, you just don't have space to move.
You just can't, right? Yeah.
Like you could probably turn it around and get the skinny a bit in, but that's about it.
And I mean, the other cool thing is like there's some detachments where you can spread the affliction quite easy, right? And if you put this, if you put this guy with a unit of Deathshroud Terminators, you can 6-inch deep strike him into backlines potentially. If you got 3 PBCs, you're re-rolling all the hits. It's a lot of potential. PBCs might be back. They are expensive. I think they're 195 points now.
Definitely expensive. But if you're playing that style of like Death Guard, it is like that is your niche, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna threaten people with your indirect, and the option to have indirect that rerolls hits is kind of its own boon. Whereas before it was just like I've been running a list lately where 2 PBCs and 2 not carnivores, brigands.
Oh, brigands, yep.
Everything puts its. I think the last time I did it was all of them shot into 1 Goremonger squad, and that's 8 models, 1 wound, 6 up save, and I think only 6 died.
Oh wow! I mean, 6 sounds like a lot.
6 sounds like a lot, but when you're firing like close to 500 points,
I have to be honest. I haven't run PVC in a long time, and it's just because I mean I only own 1 of them at the moment, and they're just so unreliable.
Yeah.
For 180 points, like you'd shoot some scouts in the back line, you might kill 1.
You might not.
Yeah, you might not. It's
but the option is there, and it gives you like a lot of. It's the fact that you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
That's the thought of it can be quite exciting, right? Yeah. And I mean, Lord of Virulence just makes that so much better now. 2 chances to hit on 4s. You got lethals.
That's not that bad.
That's good. But otherwise, his ability is still the same. Reroll wound rolls for the unit that he is attached to, which is always good.
I just think like for Blightlord specifically, like landing in with him, if he gets to reroll all his shots. Have an extra pip of strength, extra pip of AP, suddenly a strength 6 flamer. You're wounding. Oh, you can wound maybe some light vehicles and dark.
There is a lot you can do with Blightlords.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a sec. Next starter sheet we've got is Lord of Poxes.
Well, I know you're getting one.
No, I actually I don't know. I was looking at that Battle Force box and like it looked cool, but I was like, I don't need the Plague Marines, I don't need the Blightlords, I don't really need the Bloat Drone. I'm not sure how often I would use a Myphtic Blight-hauler, and I probably will pick up a Plagueburst Crawler at some point. The thing is, I've got a Chaos Lord here, and you
could probably proxy him.
Yeah, I'll probably just proxy him for now. Well, I'll wait till they sell him on his own.
To be fair, the Sorcerer could be the one.
Sorcerer too, yeah. There's a few things there, right? But I mean, Lord of Poxes is an interesting one because he's definitely the best melee option that we've got now for Plague Marine characters. 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, lethals, devastating. He gives the squad 18-inch lone op, which is nice, and he gives them an extra 3 inches of contagion.
Only his model.
Oh, is it only his model?
Only his model.
Okay, which is
so
kind of like
put him in the front.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, like it's not bad. It's more of a positioning thing because then he's open to like getting precisioned out. He's open to getting because you have to put him in the front to extend it by 3 inches.
Yeah. I'm not sure how useful the extra 3 inches is because most of the time you're going to want this guy melee. So like everything's going to be in contagion range.
Yeah. And most of the time you're going to be on an objective, which if you have 9 inches going to 12, you're not going to be at the front of that objective. You're probably going to be like on the back side.
Yeah, true. So yeah, that one's a bit interesting. There's a lot of speculation around what he would get, and a lot of people were thinking that it was going to be like some form of lone op. I was kind of hoping that he would get the option to have a second contagion, which he can do with an enhancement in one of the detachments, which is kind of nice. But there's been so many changes to, I guess we can kind of talk about some of the other leaders now. Prior to this, I feel like majority of people ran biologists and Foul Blightspawn.
Yep,
fights first, lethal 5s, standard. Few people were running the Plaguecasters, 2 Plaguecasters and Rhino, pretty solid. What else? Nobody was running the Surgeon.
No.
Nobody's running the Bell guy. I like Tallyman, but I always had the Tallyman on his own.
Yeah, because it was a very niche thing for you because you're like, oh, he's just there. He's just protecting my
He's in the back. He's the only way we can get extra CP. Chaos Lord I tried a few times instead of the Foul Blightspawn, and I had a bit of fun with him, but I think this was definitely the strongest combo. Yeah. Now that with all of these changes, most of them haven't changed too much. The Plaguecaster has changed a lot.
Yeah.
So the Plaguecaster now has sustained on everything. He gives the unit sustained on melee and shooting.
That's kind of nuts.
The Biologist He doesn't do
grenades
grenades for free.
anymore?
No, he if you kill a unit, it's very specific. If your unit kills a character unit in melee,
Yep.
he gets an extra 6 OC.
Okay, so he has the biologists like the Space Marine
the
biologist
Space
skill.
Marine one. Yep. Foul Blightspawn still has fights first, but it's only once a game now. And he's got the you can't advance within 9 inches.
I think that's going to be, honestly, that feels like a really good
It's of the model though. It's not of the unit.
But still, if you place him like around
in the front, yeah.
Think about like how now things can't advance towards you, even with Mortarion's ability to move them 5 back within 9 of them. It's like, okay, now you can't advance. You just walk up to me, I move back. You still can't advance to me, and then suddenly they can't actually get to you.
Actually, that's a good point. So there is quite a lot of movement, kind of like shenanigans you can do there. The Blightbringer, he gives extra movement, right? Yeah, 1 to movement, and you can reroll advance and charge. And then he's got the aura where it's like -1 to battle shock test, I think.
If they're below starting strength.
If they're below starting strength. So based on
-1 if it's a psyker. Interesting.
Oh, okay. That's very like lore specific.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's very.
Tallyman, he actually has ignore modifiers now. He doesn't give +1 to hit. Sorry, and it's only ignore modifiers on the hit rolls.
Yeah.
And then the Plague Surgeon has got that weird thing where he can give himself, basically he's better in melee. He crits on 5s. He can crit on 4s if they're below starting strength or something like that. But I think the combo now with Plague Marines, and there's one more, the Icon Bearer, who got worse.
Yeah, he's no longer his. He has a very specific thing where it's just like, so there was something that I was working on.
Oh, you can unbattle shock them, yeah.
Which the only thing I can think of, and
12.
because I've been trying to get this to work with a Space Marine chaplain, and it's a very niche interaction, is when a vehicle specifically explodes and everything has to pile up.
Oh, okay.
And then suddenly people are walking up to it thinking the stuff inside can't overwatch.
So you keep him kind of on the back on his own, just close to it, just in case.
And you just kind of go...
The only other thing could be like if you keep him in reserves. All right, so we just had a few technical difficulties there. Unfortunately, my camera can only record for half an hour and then it just cuts out. So what we were talking a little bit more, but basically what we're saying is with the Icon Bearer, you could potentially come in from reserves, use its ability to take something out of battle shock. Kind of niche, because you'd have to make sure it was battle shocked before the reinforcement step.
I mean, you can definitely... Oh, that is true, yeah. Before the reinforcement
and they'd
step.
also have to be
within 12.
Within 12, within the 6 of the boundary as well, so 17 inches. And then the only other thing we touched on, I think, after that was
Lord of Contagion.
Lord of Contagion, who has had a bit of a side grade. He now has Sustained and Lance, which he gives to the unit instead of reroll hits. And
coming back to life on a 2-up.
Yeah, he comes back to life on a 2-up instead of having the bounce back mortal wound. So still a pretty solid unit. I think he has an extra attack and extra strength as well. So very good at killing things. And
I mean, I do think that with the coming back on a 2-up on 3 wounds, it's just like the fact that if you have to fight him in melee, you might fail. He might just chop up a few more dudes before he goes back. He dies again. And also just the fact that they can now go with like a 3-man Blightlord squad or a 3-man Deathshroud.
Yeah.
I think he probably benefits more to the Blightlords just because they need the volume and the lance works for them in a...
Deathshroud have always been pretty solid on their own, right?
Yeah. Deathshroud, like you can have 3 by themselves and you can be like, no leader for you, you're fine.
Yeah, you're absolutely fine. And then the only other thing we kind of talked about is what is probably going to be the standard for like selecting Plague Marine characters moving forward. And I think it's definitely going to be the Biologist and the Plague Caster. You're still critting on 5s on everything, and you've got Sustained on everything now. So, you can do Plague Marines with shooting. You can do them with melee, and your output is just going to be a whole lot better, especially now that we've got so much access to rerolls. It's going to be great.
I do kind of wish that they did I think there was that, what was it, rumored that they were going to split Plague Marines into shooting and melee, and I was like,
that would be nice. It's similar to like what they've done with the Bloat Drones, right? Like splitting the profiles. But that's probably a good segue into kind of talking a little bit about Plague Marines. Ability has changed. It's no longer that +1 to leadership roles
on an objective that you control.
Yes.
And it's like a very niche thing as well.
I don't think it came up for me once.
I guess it's dependent, right? Because like playing 10th, you have like a lot of different ways of like playing where it's like the 1v1 format where we normally play. And then where I saw the most use for that was when I played in teams.
Oh, okay.
And there were just like lists upon lists of just like, do you like taking battle shocks? I like it when you take battle shocks. Here's battle shocks at -2 on every single phase. Right. And you're just like, please stop. I'm trying to score points.
But now they have the Helbrute's ability where something that they've tagged in shooting becomes afflicted until the start of your next turn. That is so good. I
was already contemplating 130 points in my list for Helbrute, but now that I can do it for 95.
90, is it 95?
I think it's around 90.
Let's have a look.
Which was how much they costed before anyway, right?
Oh, they've jumped around so much. Yeah, 95 for 5, 130 for 7, 190 for 10.
Yeah.
I would be, more than happy just running a little 5-man squad around. Blight Launcher, 2 plasma guns, 2 heavy weapons maybe. Just in case they get charged, because they're not there to do any damage. They're there to tag something, right? And then having that Blight Launcher, if Lord of Virulence has tagged something, then at least you're getting the full rerolls on that.
It's definitely a lot more accessible than having accessible and easier to use as well. Because instead of having a Helbrute running around, which was on, I think he had a movement of 6. Now he's up to 7.
It was very short.
Yeah, it was very short. He's also a vehicle not able to burst through walls and such.
No, it was always so hard to move him around. Here it is.
And now having it on a Plague Marine squad who can come out of Rhino,
walk through
walls, just be in a place where it's just like
movement 6. I tried so hard to make Helbrute work.
That's pretty much what the thing is, just move them away.
Throw them away. They've also had a couple of changes. Plague Marines are toughness 6 now.
Yeah.
I don't know much. I don't really do much Math Hammer. I don't know how much of an impact that's going to make. I guess I'll put it this way: it's easier to see it from a Marine to Death Guard kind of comparison, but because their toughness is too high.
T5, essentially every power weapon, every power sword equivalent would wound them on a 4s.
Okay.
Now power swords are wounding them on 5s.
Okay.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Suddenly, anything that isn't a Blood Angel or World Eater is going to be wounding them on 5s.
Wow.
Maybe 6s. Especially when you're looking at things like if you're going into guard, suddenly all the infantry don't matter to you.
Yeah,
you just really
it's all 6s, right?
Yeah, it's all 6s. You have breakpoints of like a lot of the big anti-infantry-esque guns could be strength 9, which doesn't matter, but some of them I'm trying to think of a strength 10 like las cannon, like a las talon, which is strength 10.
Entropy cannons on the
Plagueburst
Crawler, right?
Yeah. So suddenly,
so there's a few things that will make a difference. In the T7 on Terminators, that's really good for like the las guns.
That's really good.
Las cannons on
for las cannons, and more specifically, and this is just like a thing that I have a
dreadnoughts and stuff.
Not dreadnoughts. Then suddenly your Terminators can suddenly withstand Blood Angel charges, custodians charging into them,
right?
Because they're
are they a lot of strength 6?
For Blood Angels, it'll be a lot of strength 7,
right?
And that would have pushed you to a 3 up to wound.
Yeah.
And then most of them have lance, so it'll be like 2s.
Yeah. Okay.
And now with the T7, custodians are wounding you on 4s.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's pretty cool.
And if you play it in,
I love that. I can't remember which detachment it is. I think it's the Champions of Contagion, 1 CP plus 2 toughness.
Oh yeah. And you're just like, I'm T9 now.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
T9 Terminators. T6 Poxwalkers. Like there's so much you can do with that.
T6 Poxwalkers would actually be so toxic to deal with.
Yeah. But there were actually a few, going back to Plague Marines, a few changes with their weapons. So Blight Launcher is now Blast. It had lethal, so it's D3 attacks now instead of 2 attacks it used to be. So it's sometimes it'll be the same, sometimes it'll be a little bit better, sometimes it'll be worse. AP damage, all the same. They changed plague bolt guns. It's now just bolt guns. Oh. So I wonder if they're just standardizing that across the 40k universe.
Please tell me that it's still lethals.
It's still lethals.
Okay, thank God.
Still lethals, but it's just bolt guns now.
Yeah.
Melter is still exactly the same. The flame is all the same. And then the melee weapons did change slightly as well. So bubotic weapons, I believe they used to be strength 8.
The heavy plague weapons used to be strength 8. Bubotic weapons were
they always 5?
5.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought they were always high there. Oh, maybe it was the AP I was getting confused about, but they're both AP2, so no changes there then. The champion, though, now has a power fist instead of heavy plague weapon.
Oh, thank God.
So he's hitting on 3s instead of 4s.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot of change there. It's pretty much just the ability which changes. And
it's still a lethal hit power fist, so that's good.
That is very good. And then we get on to Blightlord Terminators, who are another unit that has had massive change. So no more re-rolling
body on the game.
Although they're like 5 for 180, I think. Let me bring this up.
In threes now.
You can take them in threes, and it must be because of that.
Lord Festilis.
Yeah, that set you can get, right?
Because even the Lord of Contagions picture now is Lord Festilis.
Yeah, that's so weird. So Blightlords, 3 for 115, 5 for 180, or 10 for 370. So if you've got 10-man squad with a leader, it's quite expensive. If you're putting an enhancement on there too, that's a quarter of your army, essentially.
But if that unit comes down, that is like
it's a lot to deal with.
That's a lot to deal with, because unless you're specifically teching for damage 3 weapons, which a lot of the game has at the moment, it's going to be a hard block to shift. But it's also a block that comes down, you're just like, cool, I have... they can take 2 blight launchers in there.
Yeah, so their ability did change. They can now, if they are shooting something that is afflicted, and there's a couple of qualifiers, they have to either have a starting strength of 5 or have a character with them. So
suddenly the 3-man blocks don't...
Unless they've got a character.
Yeah.
Then they can get an extra strength and extra AP on their attacks. I think it's just shooting, range attacks.
They got it in melee, that'd be too good.
Yeah, but their melee also changed. They now have damage 2 on their bubotic blades.
And I think 1 less attack? It used to be 4
1 less attack. It used to be 4 attacks, right?
Yeah.
So 3 attacks, still strength 5, AP2, 2 damage. The Flail of Corruption.
I think that went down a pip of strength, because I remember it being strength 6 or 7.
Take a look. It'll be in one of these. And then their Blight Launcher also changed to blasts and D3 attacks instead of just 2 attacks.
Characters.
Would you go... I'm assuming you'd still take the Reaper autocannon.
I mean, the good part about the guns is that you don't have to give up the melee weapons. And before, you would take the flail because the melee weapons weren't that good. And now I feel like I would probably ditch the flail and go for...
Oh, they have changed this as well. It used to be you could only take the autocannon or the Blight Launcher, whereas now you can take both in a squad of 5.
Yeah.
So that's a nice change, because I've got like a 5-man squad. If you kit them out with all the special weapons, you've got your Blight Launcher, you've got your autocannon, but one of them isn't. One of them is just a combi bolter or something else. Yeah. So that's a nice tweak.
But that means you can put 4 special weapons in there.
Blight Launcher, Reaper autocannon, and Plague
Spewer.
A Plague Spewer, yes, and then Flail of Corruption.
Yeah.
So then you would only have one, potentially, in a 5-man squad, a combi weapon or a combi bolter.
Which is a bit weird, because it's just like, the Plague combi bolter is already just like a fantastic like bolter.
Yeah.
Equivalent, at least. And then just having to replace it with a Reaper autocannon, which you definitely would almost always do that.
Yep.
And a Plague...
Would you usually go combi bolter or combi weapon?
I'm not a big fan of the combi weapons, just because they land hit on 4s, suddenly you're just like, and then you have to be in range to get the double shots, which when you're deep striking 9 is not too bad. But I always felt like the amount of wounds that you would do, I would rather have the volume and be able to deal with chaff rather than a combi bolter that's meant to deal with elites.
Yeah, okay. Would you take the spear?
Depends on what I want the unit to.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like with the spewer, I'm just thinking like, I'm just going to drop them in, have them charge. If they fall back, it's just a better Overwatch threat. Or just to be annoying with like the potential for Overwatch with a spewer.
I feel like Blightlords are kind of similar to Plague Marines in the sense where you've got so many weapon options and it's very easy to like just take everything and not have much focus for the unit.
Yeah.
Whereas if you kind of go into the game with specific focus of what this unit is going to do, you'll get so much more out of them.
Like I definitely think with the buffs to their ability, like the Reaper autocannon and the Plague
Just the combi
launcher
bolters. Oh, the Blight launcher, yep.
and just a bunch of bolters is probably just enough to be like,
To make sure you're shooting every turn, right? And then if you get into melee, like the Bubonic Blade, the Flare of Corruption is nice. You get 6 attacks instead of 3, but then you're losing shooting.
Yeah, which is the big part of the squad. I guess it depends, because like that flail used to be like really good. In like before 10th, I think the flail used to essentially spill damage onto other models.
Oh, really?
So like you would just hit something with it, and then it'd be like, okay, cool, I've hit you with this flail. Like one unit took like 3 damage. That excess damage spills over to the next one, and then it just like kind of cleaved through a whole squad by itself.
Okay. Now it's like, now that the Bubonic Blades are 2 damage, it's not as appealing.
No.
Right? Because you've got 1 less AP, same strength. It's literally just more attacks.
Yeah.
And you're giving up a gun.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's lost strength as well. Let me double check that, because
Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling it used to be strength 6.
no, it's still strength 5.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, the flail is definitely a lot less appealing, especially if you're just using it mainly for shooting.
Yeah.
I'd rather have my shooting buffs.
the thing is though, like, to get the most out of the shooting from the Blightlords, like this is definitely an upgrade from them. Their shooting is okay. It's not amazing, right? So committing to like a full 10-man squad with Lord of Virulence is, you're not going to get 500 points of value from that unit. So I think although it's a huge upgrade, I think it's still a little bit of a trap. I could definitely see myself potentially running a 5-man squad, maybe with Lord of Virulence.
Because I could see myself running a 3-man squad and just having it be the I'm just going to drop in the back and just pressure your home and just shoot you.
So if you have 3 models, you can swap out 1 weapon for a spewer. So you don't get the autocannon options or anything like that.
You don't get the Blight launcher.
No.
I mean,
It's like the worst one. Like,
it's like, it is the worst one.
Yeah.
I've seen the spewer just by itself on a D6. It's just like, hi, I'm just gambling at this point.
I guess that must have to do with the set that you can buy, right? It must have, one of those must have a flamer.
I think one of them has a flamer, and then that's it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I think there are a lot of cool stratagems and stuff in the detachments which make them even better.
Yeah.
But just on their own, on the card, they're still kind of like they're good, but...
But T7, 5-up move, literally a 25% buff.
Yeah, actually they're 5 move now.
And 3 wounds is not too bad, but it's just a Terminator body. And MSU, like the minimum, the smallest unit you can bring, tends to have its own value in of itself.
Yes, yeah.
Because if you can drop a 3-man and it's like 115 for 3, 35 points. Wait, is it 35 points? No. Something cheaper than 40 points per model.
Okay.
For a Terminator
Must
body,
be like 35 or something like that.
Yeah. Dropping into the backline is like...
What do you reckon their role is? What do you reckon their role is?
If you're bringing 10, they're your main damage component. If you're bringing 2 sets of 5, you're probably skirmishing with them. If you're trying to steal
or holding objectives, right? If you've got a 10-man squad on an objective, that's extremely hard to remove.
It's extremely hard, but depends on what your opponent's bringing. Because like if you're playing, like I feel like where we play, there's definitely an abundance of like sisters who bring, hi, I've just brought 3 castigators, immolators, and enough
that would just take them straight off.
To take them off the board. Or you're playing Imperial Knights who are like, I've just brought this weird immolator, not brigand. It's the one with the 2 autocannons that are damage 3. strength 9, and he's just like, I'm gonna strip your cover and I'm gonna go to AP 2, and suddenly you're just like losing Terminators. Like
maybe it is like a good play. Just have like 3-man squad. You just drop on an objective behind a wall. They're only 1 OC, but like if something comes close, you've still got 9 attacks, lethal hits, damage 2. Like you can do a decent amount.
They're enough to hopefully take, like with their shooting and melee for 3-man squad, should be enough to take off like a 5-man intercessor squad. Because then you're like...
And how many points is intercessor squad?
80.
Okay.
But still,
yeah, I mean, you'd come out on top. I mean, so, yeah, okay. After that, we've got Deathshroud Terminators, and these guys have also changed a little bit. So they no longer... First off, they've had a bit of a glow up with their stats, right? Extra movement, extra toughness.
That's the big one.
Extra wound. Being 4 wounds is so nice.
Yeah.
Just not being picked off by like those auto cannons.
Being 4 wounds, especially like when you're looking into like the people that are bringing like Terminator killers or like 3 damage. Suddenly it takes 2 of those shots to go through.
Or even if you got Typhus leading them and you roll a 1 on his magic and you accidentally, kill yourself, like at least it'll take 2 of that to...
it'll take that going twice to kill 1 guy.
Yeah. And their sweep got upgraded as well, so they've got 8 attacks now instead of 6. They are hitting on 3s. I think they used to hit on 2s.
Was it always strength 4 on the sweep?
Oh, we have to check that, but they haven't 1 AP. They didn't used to have AP.
They've lost the strength. They've gained the pip of AP, which honestly, and 2 extra attacks, which honestly just like big improvement on that.
Yeah, because if you're using the sweep, you're going into horde. You're going into infantry. Like that's absolutely fine. Their abilities also changed. So the main one being that you can now deep strike 6 inches away from a unit which is afflicted, which is pretty massive. You still have to be 9 inches away from
anything else that's not afflicted.
And you can charge when you drop down. So I think that's one of the main drawing cards for that Mortarion Hammers detachment, because you can choose 2 units to be afflicted straight off the bat.
Is Mortarion's Hammer also the one that causes the terrain piece to be? Yeah. So I think even that one's like because with the choosing 1, I guess if they have 2 units, you don't really want to choose both to be afflicted in order to do that. So you can do the 2 CP to do the terrain piece.
You choose the one in the corner so you can get them
right
in the back line and then...
Oh, you screen 9? Not anymore.
Exactly. And then their second ability, Silent Bodyguard. So this has changed, and I think this is more thematic. It gives their character model Feel No Pain 4-up, which is going to be quite niche. I guess like Typhus, if he...
I like it because...
No, because he doesn't hurt himself.
I think it's good because if you're looking at like things like the World Eater's Master of Executions, who is going to, if it walks up to Typhus and he's hitting on 4s with full rerolls, dev wounds, and normally a dev wound 3 weapon, or even a Judicia who can almost do the same thing, it's almost like absolute protection. And it forces you to fight through the Deathshroud rather than going for the precision to kill the bodyguard unit.
But these guys are still pretty solid. What's their... they did go up in cost a little bit, I believe. Deathshroud Terminators, 140, so they went up 30 points.
That's not bad. You're already getting an extra body from the...
And actually 300 points for 6. So a little bit more expensive if you bring 6, but I mean, you'd really want something to die if you're bringing 6.
If you're bringing 6, I feel like it's almost like with the reroll hits and wounds on that 1 detachment plus crits on 5s for the Terminator specific one.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that block with a Lord of Contagion kills anything in the game.
Absolutely. There wouldn't be much that would, especially if because even on the Plague Company thing, you can do a 1 CP reroll hits and wounds.
Yep.
And there's an enhancement to give Lord of Contagion dev wounds as well. So it's absolutely crazy the amount of damage output they would. But
the thing that actually gets me really excited for Deathshroud Terminators is their war gear ability for Icon of Despair.
Oh yes, and we forgot to mention as well, Plague Marines also have that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So -1 leadership, right? If you're 6 inches around them.
I honestly think that makes the third contagion ability actually viable.
Because Then you'd be -2 leadership. Yeah.
Essentially.
That's a
So
good
any
point.
battle line that walks up to you go to 1, and then they'll go to 0. And suddenly nothing's... You can't do the... There's like a lot of strats for like that Eldar and like all these like guards specifically like to do, where they just go, I can't fight you, I'm just gonna walk there.
Yeah.
And then you just go, I can't stop that. So now like a guard player can't walk up to you with OC3, because then they'll just go to OC1, and then you're playing Marines without OC them.
Do we have anything that forces battle shocks? Because Plagueburst Crawlers don't do it anymore.
Flyblown has one, but in the fight
Demon
phase
Prince
specifically.
on wings, right?
Demon Prince on wings when he finishes a charge, still in the charge phase, fight phase kind of activation. But I don't think anything actually has...
There's a couple of stratagems, I think, and some of the detachments, but maybe
honestly,
it is more viable.
That's fine, but yeah, no one can walk up to you and steal your objectives anymore. That's actually going to be super hard, which makes it more thematic, because no one should want to walk up to a Death Guard.
No, you're absolutely right.
Like Terminator, and be like, yeah, I'm good with this.
I actually realized we overlooked one of the cards.
Which one?
Poxwalkers.
Oh, we can't overlook that. That's like the best one.
So 1-inch movement, they now move 5, which is great. Honestly, 4-inch movement was so painful.
Yeah.
And they have infiltrate, which is crazy. Their points went up. They are 60 points, I believe, now.
That's fine. 10 points extra for...
But 130 points if you bring 20.
Yeah, that's all good. I'd pay that tax any day.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely bringing 1 unit of 10. Like, without a doubt, right? If you bring 60 of them, you could literally just flood
the entire board.
You probably only need 40 of them to flood the whole midboard, right?
I don't even think you need that. I think with 20 of them, you could probably make 2 triangles on each side and just stretch them out like that. The only problem is that they shoot them, they're all dead.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, some really nice changes. Poxwalkers, I mean, they're the new Nurglings for us, essentially, right? With Infiltrate. Their survivability is probably a bit better than Nurglings, because you've got
a 5-up field
of Field of Pain, and you can give them like the go to ground strat for 6-up invul. And they can bring back models if they somehow kill something.
Well, it depends. It's like weird, right? Because like with Poxwalkers, if they're fighting any cultist equivalent, like
they'll tie them up for days.
They'll tie them up for days. They actually have a chance to win that fight, because if you're going, they're strength 3. Most of the cultist equivalents are 3, toughness going to 2.
So 2 and 2s, yeah.
And then
it's just hitting on 5 switches.
Yeah,
it's brutal, right?
But it's the weight of attacks, and if they charge you first, and you're like, oh, I just took a bunch of casualties. At least it's Poxwalkers.
Yeah.
And then if you fight back, you're like, oh, I'm good. I'm back to 80%.
I mean, the other thing is, if you got 20 of them and you get first turn, you just advance them straight up to your opponent's line. 20 Poxwalkers, especially if you're going to like a vehicle heavy list, you've essentially just stopped them, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're definitely going to see a lot more of them on the board.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to bringing out my 60 Poxwalkers. Or at least I have 60 just in one container like that. And I'm just like, okay.
Oh my God. I've got 20. I've got 2 or 3 on Typhus's base here. And I've got another 6 or so that I need to put together. So there's that Poxwalker detachment, we can bring that as battle line.
To be fair, you could also just be like, cultists, you're my new Poxwalkers.
That is true, yep. And I think that's most likely I'm going to have to settle for that, because otherwise, I was looking at it, if I'm going to buy 130 more Poxwalkers, it's close to $1,000. It's so expensive.
I think, okay, this is just like a hobbying thing now.
Yeah.
Age of Sigmar might have cheaper ones.
Oh, I did see that.
Because you can buy like the
zombie horde, right?
A zombie horde that's like 20 models for the same price.
Yes.
So you just
it was a little bit more expensive. It was like
130.
Because Poxwalkers is like 10 for 70, I think. Whereas the zombie ones are like 20 for 100.
Yeah.
So I could bring that down to like 500 or something like that. It's still a huge amount of money. But all right, and then getting into some of our other units. So Helbrute had a few changes. Extra movement. Their toughness 9. I think that's the same. I think wounds have changed. No, wounds are the same. Sorry, but they no longer have that tagging for contagion or affliction, and they now have
a 7-inch move.
The 7-inch move, but when this model makes an attack that targets an afflicted unit, add 1 to the wound roll, which is pretty good.
I think for the Helbrute, it's actually a little bit of a glow up that he has something different from the Plague Marines, because now he's not a support unit. He's an actual...
His points went down as well. Like he is, where is he? Helbrute.
Helbrute used to be 130.
Yeah, he's 115 now.
Oh, 15 points cheaper.
He's got so many weapon options. It's like, what do you bring, right? Because his other ability is if you bring 2 melee options, like a hammer and a scourge or 2 fists or something like that, you can add 2 attacks to one of them.
To be fair,
2 attacks to when you're doing
that hammer used to hit on 4s. I think most of the demon hammers used to hit on 4s, and now the fact that it hits on 3s makes it so much more appealing.
So 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 14, so plus 1 to wound.
Yeah,
you're wounding vehicles on 2s.
Yeah, I think he definitely has a... Because if you think about how the army is going to work now, with Deathshroud specifically, now that you don't have to be like, I have to spend the CP to rapid ingress them. That you can just do it from the 6 charge, maybe save the CP for reroll.
Rapid ingress the Helbrute.
Yeah, rapid ingress the Helbrute. Suddenly you have 6 attacks coming from the side. You're just like, okay, you can shoot one last cannon at it. Sure. I'll take that risk.
I think if you're wanting to make the most out of its abilities, you're definitely going to bring 2 melee weapons, right? I would probably go for the second option, a Power Scourge. 8 attacks, which will go up to 10. Hitting on 3s. It's a shame none of this has lethals or anything like that.
No. But if he hits on 3s, it's like okay.
Yeah.
And then wounding on 2s, he's going to wound him.
Strength 7, so you're probably down to 2s when you're going into infantry. AP 1, which will be AP 2, damage 2.
Yeah,
like it's essentially the like the flesh mower.
Yeah.
But minus the lethal hits. Yeah. Alternatively, you could go 2 fists. 5 attacks each, so going up to 7. Strength 12.
But you don't have the... Oh, okay. Is it only 2 fists, or can you mix and match?
You can bring 2 fists. The benefit to bringing a fist is you can also bring, with each fist, either a flamer or a gun. Yeah. So then at least, with his flamers, I don't think they're anti-infantry.
No, they're not the cool plague ones.
But they are still AP -1 damage 1. Whereas the Combi Bolter... Is it the Combi Bolter is your other option? Lethal hits rapid fire 2. So if you've got 2 of them, it's 8 attacks. Lethals.
But it's almost like, I feel like with a bolter, if you're dealing with chaff, that's probably not what he's there to do.
Yeah.
Everything else in your army probably deals with chaff just as easily from afar, and then the Helbrute just needs to walk up to stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with the fist, though, if you're going into a vehicle, not many vehicles are T12, right? Land Raiders.
Land Raiders, Repulsors, Hecaton Land Fortress.
And if they're in contagion range, so they're down to 11.
Down to 11.
So you're wounding on 3s, +1 to wound. You're wounding on 2s anyway. Yeah. Do you need the hammer? I mean, the hammer is D6 +1. The fist is 3 damage.
That's the thing, right? Like if you're on average, a hammer is probably 4 damage. But there's a chance it rolls 1, and then you go, oh, I got less than a fist. And then there's a chance you roll 6, and you're like, I did way more than a fist.
I have to play around with that and see, figure out what's best with it. But I don't think it's worth bringing any of the guns.
I think a hammer definitely though. Like if you, not definitely, but like the good part about a hammer is that if you're suddenly dealing with, let's put up the 4 wound infantry. So let's look at Deathwing Knights. Alaris Custodians.
You got a chance to
at least kill one a turn. And that chance to kill 1 a turn is always huge because of Deathwing Knights specifically, they're just so annoying with their damage -1. Suddenly you need 2 Helbrutes to go through, Helbrute Fists to go through to kill 1, whereas the hammer might just outright kill 1 straight up.
If we compare this to a carnivore.
Oh, there's nothing in the game that compares to a carnivore.
Okay.
The Chaos Knights are just so good. Like their stat line is just like
because
the perfect
Helbrute's only OC3.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere where you bring a Helbrute over a carnivore? It's 25 points cheaper. But for an extra 25 points, you get indirect missiles. You get D6 +2 damage. You're hitting on 2s instead of 3s. If they're in contagion range of something,
and you have 5 immortal missiles.
Yes.
I think
You've got more wounds.
It depends, right? Because I can see the benefit of bringing knights, like especially if you're working off of of the necessity to require to kill things like that. But I feel like the Helbrute, if you're going for like a Death Guard only kind of build,
Yeah, purist.
He
kind of fills that role.
He fills that role.
Yeah.
He fills that role, and I think the contagions that he gives, like the fact that he can extend, he's a unit that can just extend the contagion.
There's a bit more utility to him, right? And you can use stratagems on him. So if you're on Mortarion's hammer, you can run through walls.
He's still 8 wounds.
Still 8 wounds.
Still 8 wounds. Like if he goes on 2 wounds, there's a possibility. Like even in the index, there's a stratagem to deal mortals based on how many wounds you've lost, and then recover that. Yeah. So he could be a really good
like a tank shot kind of thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He could be a really good unit to use that on. The only other person I can think of is the Demon Prince or Mortarion.
Yeah, definitely Mortarion.
Like if Mortarion goes on 2 wounds, you're like,
it's cool. Here you go. Here's 12 dice. Try to get some 5s. Moving on, we've got Chaos Spawn, and I actually use Chaos Spawn quite a lot. I like them a lot. They're so swingy. Like they're not very good at killing things. Although saying that, I had one game against Eldar and they just did so well. But
Eldar's a different kind of beast. Like I feel like with Eldar, when you're bringing them from T3 to T2 and they don't have anti-infantry and they're just working off of wounding on like strength 4, maybe strength 10 weapons, and you're just like, oh, how am I actually supposed to kill Death Guard as Eldar?
Absolutely. So in terms of its weapons, still the same, D6 plus 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, no lethal or anything like that. It's toughness 7 now. Used to be toughness 5.
That's a big jump.
That's a big jump, and it has Scout 6. So it's replacing the cultist role. And I would much rather have Chaos Spawn in the front lines instead of cultists.
That's true.
You've got a little bit more movement. You don't recover wounds anymore. You used to recover D3.
They still base 4 wounds?
Base 4 wounds, yep. And they've got this thing now where every time an attack is allocated to them, you roll a d6 for every attack up to a maximum of 6, and for every 4 up, you bounce back a mortal. So it's kind of like grenades.
Yeah.
So if you're going into a unit like Scouts where they've got no chance of killing you, but they're going to do more than 6 attacks, you're pretty much bouncing mortals back for free on top of your casino.
It's kind of like having I guess it's the contagion. It's his kind of rule, right? His old rule.
His old rule, yes, you're absolutely right. Kind of, but his was he had to take wounds. They just have to take attacks.
Oh, wow.
So they don't have to wound you, they just have to attack you. So it actually lets them kind of chip away at vehicles as well.
Does it specifically state, because sometimes they specifically state like monsters and vehicles aren't affected by this.
No, so each time a melee attack is allocated to a model in this unit, after the attacking unit has finished making its attacks, roll 1d6 up to a maximum of 6. For each 4+ attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound. And it's each time a melee attack. So if you've got multiple units attacking it, and you're surviving all of that,
they possibly just like deal a little bit of trip damage and then finish them off on their
fight back, right?
And there's a possibility that you don't even take the damage on the field of pain.
Yeah, absolutely. And now they have Deadly Demise 1. Now I've never had to deal with this before, but if you've got 2 models and one of them dies, you Deadly Demise that, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. And then
you would do, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So you got 2 chances to do
and
extra
then
mortal.
But then it wouldn't be an attack, I guess.
No.
But I guess it wouldn't trigger your ability. It just
because you do your ability first because it's when the attacks are allocated to the model. And sorry, that reminds me, we completely overlooked Mortarion's aura. Let me go back to it.
There's so many.
I know, there's just so much to uncover here.
Oh, right, his
mortals.
Yep, he has mortals too.
Yep, so if you are within 6 inches of Mortarion, on a free up, or if they're in contagion range, which if they're within 6 inches, they're most likely are going to be, they suffer D3 mortals.
Oh, he's going to be a terror in the
yeah, that's
he's
a lot.
Just if you just sit him in the center and just like you're forced to melee him, it's just like taking mortals nonstop.
Okay, another technical issue. This time my camera overheated, so it's been we've just been sitting here for another, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so. But moving on to the next unit, we've got Myphtic Blight-haulers. And these guys have also had a bit of a glow up. They now have +1 to hit and wound against monsters and vehicles. And it used to be
just vehicles.
And it used to be just a wound.
Yeah. And the multi-melter has
lethal hits, which is pretty good, right? But you can't run them in squads of 3 anymore. It's only 2.
I mean, they cost so much. Like if you ran them in squads of 3, that would be
270 or something.
270,
right? Yeah.
and it's not worth having to have the hassle of like maneuvering them through everything.
There's still 90 points, so 1 for 90, 2 for 180. I guess the question with Myphtic...
No, actually, I think they've gone up 5 points because they used to be 85.
Oh, really? Okay. It shows you how much I play them.
Shows you how much I play them.
I think in terms of their stat line, still exactly the same. The question with these guys is Myphtic Blight-haulers versus Brigands.
Brigand is 165.
Yeah, so
but
essentially...
a Brigand is really good.
And if you think about... okay, you're coming in from reserves. You're within melter range for a Brigand. D6 plus 4. 2 attacks, you're hitting on 2s. Probably wounding on 3s because you're strength 12 if you're going into a vehicle. D6 plus 4 is essentially 2d6.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Myphtic Blight-haulers, squad of 2, coming from reserves, you're not in melter range. 4 attacks, you're hitting on 2s. You're wounding on 4s down to 3s, so same as a Brigand.
Depends, yeah.
And if you get all of them through, 4d6.
I think it depends on what... So how...
But you do have a couple of extra.
But you do have a couple of extra things. But I feel like how I use my Myphitics is particularly for like...
secondaries and
light
stuff?
Vehicle hunting,
Right.
secondaries, maybe like anti-elite stuff as well. Like even though it says monster vehicles, like a melter into a Terminator is still a melter into a Terminator.
Yeah.
I use them a lot for screening, mainly because it's still a 10 movement model that moves onto a point and puts 3 OC on it.
Yeah.
It's difficult to kill, and then it's just...
And you can use strats and all kinds of stuff. And
it's just efficient for 985, now 90 points. And I always felt like with a Brigand, most of the time the gun that's inside wants to shoot at not a Rhino. It wants to shoot at the stuff inside a Rhino. And then the melter wants to go into something that is slightly better than a Rhino. And that's where I feel like they really shine, because it's like all about the sequencing of things. Right?
Yeah. So I guess identifying what hole you need to fill in your list. Because it sounds like, they've still got 2 very different roles. Yeah. Essentially, right? Like if you're going into 20 Poxwalkers, you'd much rather have a Brigand than a 2 Myphtic Blight-haulers, right?
Yeah. But then the Myphtic Blight-haulers, if you are going against like a bunch of Poxwalkers, they're probably there just to do secondaries at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no. There's a crack missile. There's a missile in there.
With blast.
With blast. So I mean, like D6 plus 2. For
you could
blast.
almost take out 20 Poxwalkers with a Brigand.
True. True.
Whereas with a thing, but actually they got blast missiles as well.
Yeah, but then at 160 points, like 155, I think, for a Brigand,
taking out 120, 30 points.
It is like it's like a Brigand light.
Yeah. Like, guess it depends how many points you've got left, right?
And I think the thing with a Brigand is that so my list currently has 2 Myphtic Blight-haulers and 2 Brigands, and I feel like my Brigands, because of how much they cost and they only have to 5 up for shooting, I don't even want them to get shot. Whereas the Myphitics, I can just throw them wherever and they're just
that's a good point.
Might tie up a bunch of 8-bound for no reason. Also, with -1 damage on the Myphitic, with a 5-up invuln, you're very likely to survive like something killing you off the bat.
And I guess in that Mortarion's hammer, you've got things like going through walls, you've got a few other access to rerolls, I think, potentially. And then you can make use of, obviously, the Lord of Virulence.
Yeah.
The rerolls as well.
Yeah.
Moving on, we've got the Bloat Drones, and this is another thing that's had a massive glow up. The Flamers and the Flesh Maul still exactly the same. Same points, same everything. But the Heavy Blight Launcher.
That's the glow up. That's the real
This is absolutely mental. So instead of 6 attacks, which it used to be,
Yep.
it's D6 plus 2, which is sometimes going to be better, sometimes going to be worse. It's blast as well, though.
Yeah.
So depending on what you're going into, it's now strength 10. This used to be strength 6, right?
No, it's not strength 8. I remember because I remember saying it was like, it's a power fist, it's ranged.
Okay. It's AP2 now instead of AP1.
Mm-hmm. No, it was only, I think the base was also AP2.
Where's the card? Let's find the card.
It should be...
And it's in this one. And it's flat 3 damage.
I think it's at the bottom. That's the Myphtic.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Heavy Blight. Yeah, you're right. AP2, strength 8. So potentially more attacks, more damage.
And it's damage 3.
And it's damage 3. So anti-elite now.
Yep.
Which is...
It's anti-everything now. That's your go-to gun. If you slam 3 of these things, D6 plus, like minimum 6 shots. No, sorry, minimum 12 shots if you slam 3 of them into one unit. And it's like strength 10 AP2, damage 3. Like, cool. I'm gonna love that when I'm fighting like
D6 plus 2, 9 shots. Yeah, it's plus the blast. Yeah. This is so good. Now its ability is a bit weird. It's if you kill something with your shooting, you roll a D6, and on a 5 up, enemies within that unit. Sorry, enemies within 6 inches become afflicted.
That is
So that's kind of like a whatever. Like it might come up, but the interesting thing about this now is you could essentially have 6 bloat drones.
Yeah, I think 6 bloat drones because I feel like for me specifically, I don't know if you run a lot of bloat drones.
I've got 2. I've only got 1 painted one.
I think I have 3 painted ones, but I normally run 1 with a flamer just to run straight into the middle, and then I have 2 of the
flesh mowers.
The blight launchers just for like long range support.
I like all 3 options. I mean, I probably use the blight launcher the least in the past. I like the flamers for that Overwatch threat, and the flesh mower was just handy to have. But now the fact that I could potentially have 1 flamers, 1 flesh mower, and 2 of I haven't got it on that one, but the heavy blight launcher, and they're so cost effective. I think the blight launcher is 100 points and the other ones are 90, but that's, if you're taking...
I'd pay 100 points for the blight launcher now. That thing is like even at 100 points, having a 9 wound T9 10 wound model that moves 10, which is the fastest thing in Death Guard at the moment. With that kind of shooting,
I mean, that's the same cost as 5 Plague Marines.
Yeah. So,
like, this would absolutely destroy 5 Plague Marines.
Yeah. Like, you just walk up and just be like, okay, cool, bye.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to see a lot of this.
I do like the explosive blight. Just from like a... like possibly it triggers other contagions like the -1 hit.
Well, the thing is, it's okay until the start of your next turn. It could tie in well with potentially taking something for like a rapid ingress from Deathshroud Terminators in their turn.
I think that, and like if you're taking the third option, -1 to move on those afflicted units that you haven't shot with your other Plague Marines.
You really want, one thing I've kind of started noticing with the new Death Guard is you want your enemy to kind of be clumped together.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe having 60 Poxwalkers in the middle of the board to keep them all clumped together might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, even and even like if they're gonna spread out, it forces them to spread out.
Yeah.
Because then you can pick off because the more they spread out, the better it is for you if you bring Deathshroud, because suddenly you can start looking at where they are weakest.
Yeah, true. And then, going into another unit that benefits from units being close to each other, Plagueburst Crawler. So, extra range on inch per can. That's much needed.
Yep. Hated that thing being 24.
And then instead of forcing battle shocks when you hit infantry, you now have... This actually happens before you roll your hits and wounds and that. You roll a d6 for your target, and on a 6 up or 5, if they're afflicted, every unit within 3 inches of that unit you're targeting.
Every other unit, so it can't count the unit that you're targeting itself as well.
It's not for the target's unit and every other one.
Okay, that's weird.
So it's not 1d6 per each, it's just 1d6.
Oh, okay.
So if you roll a 6 or a 5 if they're afflicted, everything in that bubble suffers D3 mortal wounds.
Oof.
Now this is where I think we're going to see potentially, if you've got 3 Plagueburst Crawlers, just constant mortal wounds. If you're able to roll those 5s and 6s, I mean, that's potentially 9 mortal wounds on a selection of units that are close together, right?
Yeah.
And in turn 1, turn 2, that's going to be so good when everything's like all clumped together. A bit of luck involved with that, definitely.
A bit of luck, but I feel like it's also, in a way, I feel like Death Guard, just since the start of 10, they've always been the kings of, let's have all these really cool rules that kind of contradict each other. Like, having this rule, and if it goes off, that's great. But then if it takes away a hit from blast, that's going to be weird. It's just like having how we have like, you got dead wounds, but you also have lethal hits, so have fun.
So each time you select a target for this models, so it happens before, so you could take yourself out of blast.
Oh, no, it says after resolving all of this model's attacks against the target unit.
Oh, so after you've done it.
Okay, so after you've done it,
so you still get blast,
Yeah.
And I think another, just with going back to Lord of Virulence, if you're deep striking this in with Deathshroud Terminators, then you're choosing that target, you're re-rolling all hits.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, indirect on 4s isn't as bad.
Yep. If you spam all 3 into them, that's 12 shots.
There's one stratagem, and I think it's in the Plague Company detachment, Virulent.
The new,
and you can re-roll the number of attacks.
Oh yeah.
On one target.
What was it called? It was like something abundance or something.
Okay, but so yeah, Plagueburst Crawlers are going to love that.
Yeah, I think Plagueburst Crawlers will love it. If you're shooting anything with a flamer, even the
big Plague Marine squads,
launchers
the Blight launchers,
the feathered Bloat Drones will love it.
Oh yes, yeah. They're probably going to benefit from it the most.
Because suddenly I feel like,
and it's one of those things. It's kind of like because they took away the Ferret Blight, not Ferret Blight. What's the other one where it was like heavy and ignores cover?
Yeah,
I used to use it all the time.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe I can't remember that. Anyway, it's kind of like replaced that one where it's like every casino roll that you've got a chance of doing more attacks.
And you can always just be like,
and it's like you select one target and everything that shoots that target does it.
Which is honestly way better because I felt like it's almost like makes it less casino-y because
you got 2 chances, right?
And it's also just like from a gameplay perspective, you spend 1 CP to reroll a shot. This for 1 CP, you might potentially have the use of like if you can get all 3 feathered Bloat Drones in and all 3 Plagueburst Crawlers in, it's like you're using the
getting a lot of value from that,
6,
right? Yeah.
If you have to do all of them.
Moving on, we've got the Annihilator, and this is probably one of the few ones that's taken a bit of a downgrade. It's got a weird ability now where it's similar to the Plagueburst Crawler, actually. You've got a chance to do mortal wounds.
But it's only against 1 monster vehicle as well.
Yeah, and it's instead of the reroll damage rolls, which it used to have. So, yeah, I don't think we'll see much of that.
I mean, mortals on the 4-up when you shouldn't be taking mortals.
The amount of times I took a Chaos Lord and, tried to roll 4-ups, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Destructor, though, similar theme. It's still anti-infantry-ish. You don't get an extra AP when you're shooting. You now give an extra AP for anything else that shoots the target. And I think it's still only infantry. Yeah, it's not monsters and vehicles.
No, so that still looks great on bikes, mounted beasts.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, yeah. And really good synergy with your Blightlords and even your Deathshroud Terminators, because all of a sudden they're getting potentially -2 AP if you're there in contagion range. So, yeah, I think that's cool. Oh, and the other thing is it also got lethal hits.
Oh, did it?
On its autocannon.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's strength 10 now.
Nice. Oh.
Which means if a vehicle is in contagion range, it's actually wounding on freeze, which, so...
I think that's the big upgrade, because I feel like for Death Guard specifically, we had such a lack of strength 10 because they were always accounting for things to be in contagion range.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're going for 4s anyway, and you're just like, that's not reliable when I'm trying to kill a tank.
Yeah.
And now I feel like with these being strength 10 on the launchers, the Predator Destructor being strength 10 on the
auto cannon, right? Yeah.
The entropy cannons finally being more than 24-inch range.
There's a few more options.
You actually have the ability to have a tank war with someone.
We're not going to be so reliant on brigands.
No,
right?
Which is I'm happy about.
Yeah.
Even though I just bought 2.
And then there's another one. We've got the Defiler. I don't own a Defiler.
I've seen one Defiler in my life, and I look at it and I just go, so where does the model stop being a model? Because it's just like, I think the footprint of that thing
is massive.
It's like this big.
Yeah. And on WTC terrain, you're just not going anywhere with it. It's got a cool ability now.
It's weird because I don't know if it has a base.
It doesn't.
So I think you can just like put a leg over one of the walls and it's fine.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Because there's like the Soul Grinder, which is kind of like a similar size, but that one's got a base, which is really weird. But this one strips AP. Strips cover.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. 165 points. It's a bit of a mixed profile, melee and ranged, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever. Well, I've never played against one.
I don't think I'll pick one up. We've got so many things to play with now. It's probably low priority for me. And then the last vehicle we have, getting into our transport vehicles, Land Raider. So the capacity has increased to 14, which means we can bring a 6-man squad of Deathshroud and a leader. It used to be 12, which was really annoying. You could bring like 5 Blightlords and a Lord of Contagion, but now you can actually bring a full Deathshroud squad. Outside of that,
actually, with 14, you could bring 2 7-man Plague Marine squads if you really wanted to as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also, you can take Poxwalkers.
Oh, well, all right.
Yeah. Pretty sure it says that on here somewhere.
Yeah, because that would fit 10 plus Typhus. Plus 1.
So they've changed the wording, so it's Death Guard infantry models. So
nice.
Poxwalkers, Terminators, Plague Marines. And then the Rhino has also changed its wording, so it can also take Poxwalkers. Capacity of 12. And the Rhino's got amazing ability now. I think all Rhinos have lost the recover a wound.
I think the plus 1, like, there's so many times where the plus 1 to wound didn't matter because the Rhino just outright dies. Or you just see it go from 10 to 9 back to 10 and you're just like, whatever.
And it took like 1 combi bolter or something.
Yeah.
Weapons all the same, just new ability, fire support. So when you, in your shooting phase, after this model has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time a friendly model that disembarked from this transport makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, you can re-roll the wound roll. So you can give your Plague Marines that just jumped out re-roll wounds, which is pretty crazy. And if you're bringing the biologist, crits on 5s, bring him sustained.
I even think that just a Rhino with this guy in it and the biologist, this guy.
Oh,
bring
flames.
Bring that, and then you just go, okay, I just have a bunch of flamers in here, and you drop out on a point. You're like, you only put infantry in here. This point is mine. Even not infantry. The fact that it's for any vehicle that the Rhino shoots at. Like his one is strength 6.
Yes, and a bit more on the overcharged one, I think.
I think his flamer is strength
7. I think.
7, I think. So it's like. They bust out and they'll just be like, okay, I don't care if you're a vehicle as well. I'm just going to roll wounds into you.
Exactly. There's actually a lot more synergy now with the Rhino, and
which is what I like. And I kind of wish they would stop copy pasting the Land Raider everywhere because I feel like there should be
a special Death Guard one.
Special Death Guard one, considering that the only thing that makes this special is that it's movement 10.
Which is more of a handicap.
Yeah,
right?
Because it's like this is Death Guard Land Raider. Okay, what do we get that's Death Guard specific? You move slower? Thanks.
That's all of the new Death Guard infantry. I think we are really spoiled for choice now. And with a lot of things kind of like going up in points cost a little bit, you're going to have to be really careful about like thinking about what you choose, because like we kind of talked about, if you take 10 Blightlords with a leader, that's quarter of your army.
Yeah.
If you take
Mortarion, that's
fifth of your army. If you take 10 Plague Marines with 2 leaders and a Rhino, that's quarter of your army. So what do you do?
I guess.
What are we bringing? We're definitely bringing a Demon Prince on foot.
Yeah.
For the free CP.
That free CP will just pay for itself, and it's more in your control than the opponents.
I think we're definitely bringing Bloat Drones.
Yep.
With the Blight launchers, and if we're doing that, we're definitely bringing Lord of Virulence.
Yep.
And then
Lord of Virulence, you're probably bringing them in a 3-man Blightlord
or Deathshroud, depending on how many Plagueburst Crawlers you're bringing.
But to be fair, you could always bring one Blightlord, one Deathshroud squad, and just have the Lord of Virulence go wherever he's needed the most.
Yeah, that's true. Are we still bringing Lord of Contagion?
I think that's a different build. If you wanted a really, really deadly like Blightlord squad, or a really, really deadly like
melee, backlines going and something.
Yeah. I think you probably bring him, but I think that's a separate build. I feel like six Deathshroud or 5 Blightlords that come in with him will just hit up. Whereas
I feel like I would, because a lot of the time, and prior to this, I would be bringing 1 6-man squad of Deathshroud, 1 3-man squad of Deathshroud.
Yeah.
Lord of Contagion usually go with the 6-man squad. I think I would feel comfortable just bringing him with 1 3-man squad.
Yeah.
Just to deal with
whatever,
something annoying, right? And because now you've got potentially Mortarion to deal with big threats as well.
Because he can actually do stuff now.
And the shooting is better. You've got Bloat Drones, which can actually do free damage, because a lot of the time we were relying on the Destructor or Lord of Contagion to do those the free damage. Or something to take out elite units.
Somehow,
right?
if you got the entropy cannon in, the entropy cannon.
Poxwalkers, you're definitely bringing at least 1 unit.
Yeah.
100%.
I feel like the infiltrate is definitely key, because it's something that after playing Flyblown, I felt like not having an infiltrating squad, because I didn't want to bring Nurglings, really hindered it, because you
depending on what you're going up against, right? Like, you need to be able to deny scout moves and other infiltrators.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of nice that they've got OC. We can actually have objectives turn 1.
And honestly, not Blightlords, Deathshroud and Plague Marines being able to -1 OC just makes it so much better, because you can't. Just the fact that you can't steal objectives off of those 2 units specifically becomes way better. It probably won't work too well against Knights, because that's different.
It's completely different. Yeah.
But on the bright side, we now have the ability to deal with Knights, because even if we shoot a Knight, T10 going to T9, most of our stuff is strength 10 now.
Yeah.
We can actually do something.
That's a good point. You only need 4 Bloat Drone shots to go through to kill one, right?
Yeah, damage tree on those things is so nice.
Chaos Spawn. I think 1 unit of Chaos Spawn in most lists.
Yeah.
For that scout move.
For the scout, and just the ability just to
do a few mortals, and they're like perfect for going after those smaller scout units that you're probably just going to kill them with mortals. You're not even going to kill them with your attacks.
Like I like to see how that goes with against like a Jackal squad or something, where they're just all like strength 3, AP 0, 1 damage, and they're like, I've charged this, now I have like 4 attacks per guy, and they're just like not doing anything, but all those attacks add up to, I'm just gonna deal 6 mortals.
And then Plague Marines, depending on how you're building your list, you might have if you're going Plague Marine heavy, you definitely have a 10-man with a couple of leaders and a Rhino. I think I'd definitely be looking to bring potentially a couple of 5-man squads, maybe just at least 1 5-man squad on its own, just to spread that affliction more.
I think the biggest part about Plague Marines is the fact that they have a better ability, but they're not locked to the melee specificness that they trended towards.
They can be more of a support.
they can actually be
unit.
like, there's a reason to shoot them. There's not just a reason to be like, I fight first and I stand behind a wall.
Yeah,
And if you walk up to me, I hit on 4 critical 5s. Now it's just like, okay, now you can play more towards like I have melters and plasma guns that can actually do something. You have sustain 1 and crits on 5s, and that's another combo that you can do. While still also having the ability to have the fights first unit in the front with all the melee weapons.
Yeah.
And I just like the sheer versatility of a Plague Marine squad.
There's so much you can do with them, right? And then Plagueburst Crawler, I wonder how effective 1 would be. I feel like it's one of those units where if you're going to go PBCs, you kind of like double down. And
it's the rule of 1 will do nothing, 2 might do something, and 3 definitely will do something.
Yeah. If you have a Lord of Virulence, you're going to do a lot more.
Yeah. I do feel like if you bring like the Lord of Virulence, I'm actually wondering if it's worth starting him. I guess
on the board, right?
Yeah.
Like because 30 inches is quite far.
Yeah.
You have him with 3-man squad of Blightlords just for that defense. And you poke him out so he can see something. Your Bloat Drones, your PBC, everything gets full rerolls.
I actually think if I had to run
on the hits,
if I had to run him, if I had to run him in Flyblood, I'd probably put him with that 18-inch shroud.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah,
just
so
run
he's
him
just
by
like,
himself.
yeah.
And then he just runs to a point and he's just like, I'm here for the rest of the game. And I'm just pointing stuff out. If you try to take this, I'll overwatch you with a 2d6.
Put him on the tallest building.
Yeah.
So you can see everything.
He's like, I can see all.
Yeah. Land Raiders still kind of like situational.
Yeah, it's not. I think with the Deathshroud having that 6-inch deep strike, we don't really need a Land Raider.
No, you don't do. Unless you want to put 14 Poxwalkers in it for whatever reason.
That's not even a good one, really.
No. I mean, you could put Typhus in there with them. And then like the Helbrute and Myphtic Blight-hauler, I guess it kind of depends on like how many points you got left over. You need units for secondaries, right?
Yeah.
And Helbrute's probably at that price point where you wouldn't feel as bad with him doing a secondary.
But I do think that with the changes to Deathshroud, not having to use the rapid on them to do stuff with them, I think he's definitely
the rapid ingress guy
to be like, I'm just going to rapid ingress 9 away from you and just going to fight you until he dies.
I'm gonna have to try that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I did wish that he would have kept the double fist twin linked, because then he would be like charging something with 7 attacks with his power fist twin linked, winning on 2s.
Oh, it'd be so good.
But give and take. We can't hit harder than world eaters.
Yeah, sure.
I'm actually curious to see how people use a lot of Poxes. Because
he's kind of in an interesting position, right? Because
he wants to be in that melee, but he also wants to be
far away. Yeah, it's
and an 18-inch lone op isn't as good as a 12-inch lone op.
No, I used that enhancement on when I played Flybone, had the 18-inch lone op thing, and it didn't do much.
I think I believe in Warhammer having trade-offs, and like people can play around specific things, but that specific thing is supposed to force a specific outcome. And that is, if they're within 18 of you, you're probably in charging distance. At least if you have the feathered bloat drones, or like, in order to get an entire army within 18, something's within charge distance.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what it's trying to force, is that if you're going to shoot at this one unit, and you don't commit everything to it, you're going to have to start layering things maybe past that 18 to get everything in to shoot.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're in range of everything the Death Guard want you to be in.
Exactly, yeah. That's the thing, right? You get too close to Death Guard, and that's where you want them to be.
Well, the biggest thing for Deathshroud was that when they come in, they fail that charge, you just run away. You just go, I accept.
Exactly. Okay, I have no idea how long we've been talking for, but I'm going to wrap this one up here. So if you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I realize we haven't covered every single thing, new thing that has come to Death Guard. There's obviously all the detachments, there's changes to allies, there's a few other things going on, but even just with the changes that we've had to all of our units, I would almost be happy playing this without you need detachments. You know, there are so many new cool rules and synergies and things. The detachments just seem like a bonus on top of that.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, like Death Guard index cards were typically not that great on their own.
No, they were absolutely terrible at start of 10th because you were just like, why does this exist?
Yeah. Whereas now it's like, actually, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be great. And once I've got a few games under my belt, I guess I'll come in and talk about my experiences with the different detachments. I guess the one thing I will say on that is I don't think I can play all of them very effectively yet. The Poxwalker one, I do not have anywhere near enough Poxwalkers.
To be fair, just borrow my Poxwalkers.
The Demons one, I think you need more Great Unclean ones. I've got one.
You have Rodriguez.
Yeah. And I could probably Terminators one. Yeah, I've got enough for that.
Yep.
Mortarion's Hammer, I've only got one PVC, so I probably can't play that one effectively. But I think the ones I'm most excited about anyway is the Virulent Victorium, which is the Plague Company one, and then the Champions of Chaos, which is the Leaders one, where it's more focused on Terminators and Plague Marines and even Poxwalkers. It's pretty much most of the stratagems are like target an attached unit. Yeah. So there's quite a lot you can do with that one. So yeah, Zach, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
You're the first guest I've had on that's been in person. All my other guests have been online, so it's been very refreshing.
It's easier to have a chat in person than over a computer screen, I guess.
Yeah, but I guess we'll have to have a game next time, and see.
Excited to see what you bring. Unfortunately, I guess it would be the end of your bringing Rodriguez in every detachment.
I'm gonna miss Rodriguez so much, and the Nurglings not so much anymore now that we've got Poxwalkers with Infiltrate. But yeah, easy. All right, see you guys.
See ya.